Enter the Gungeon is one of the best roguelike dungeon crawlers that has been created, and game developers can learn a lot from it. But in a few ways it was a bit sloppy. First, I want to compare it to the modern standard, because it ran through my head a lot of the time during my playthrough, The Binding of Isaac. I see you people looking at the other links over there. I promise you, all those videos are garbage, including my own if they pop up, and my videos are garbage even if they don't pop up. Anyways, there are a lot of different reasons to play each game, but where Isaac has a distinct advantage is in a few areas. Isaac seems to be, at the moment, the forever king of itemization and item collaboration. If you have ever dived into the community of Isaac, you've seen the videos where Isaac fills an entire room with items to the point where the game almost breaks, and that's usually just the beginning of what you can do with the items in that game. But it's mostly limited to one thing, which is the fact that you're editing the tears flying out of Isaac's face. They're pretty uniform, and the things you can change are mostly rate of fire, damage, and tear size. They certainly got creative with this, but still, the amount of changes you can do with these items feels almost infinite. Gungeon, on the other hand, actually has, in some ways, equal or better items, but they just don't work with each other as much as they do in Isaac. When it comes to humor, I think they're probably both about equal. Isaac is definitely much more sinister, mostly trying to find humor and going to hell while dealing with an abusive mother and whatever the hell else Isaac would be. Weirdly enough, they pull it off pretty well though. Gungeon is a game where the studio gave everyone a fever and told them to think about guns right before going to bed. Then they all came back with whatever the hell happened in their heads at night. They came back with guns like the Snake Maker, and a collection of guns which are all different ways to shoot fish. Both games do really well in their own ways of crackpot comedy, for lack of a better term. Gungeon also does better with walking through a floor after the rooms have been created, by pretty much not making you do that. There's this really crazy idea where you can teleport. This seems very simple, but it takes so much time out of the game in terms of boring and pointless parts which drag down your experience. It takes about a minute without this feature. In fact, I blew through the tutorial using the world-famous Aaron Hansen method of not wanting to read everything and subsequently being terrible at the game. I only learned about what the random green circles on the floor did by seeing a tip in a random shop. Weirdly enough, I actually had a rant prepared for this game if it didn't include the teleport feature, which I didn't think existed. But it surprised me and created one, or at least maintained, if this has been created before, the teleport feature, which was very much needed. Next, the problems. The problems were mostly minor, and as I'm writing them, I feel like the nerd in the group who complains about physics and logic fallacies in movies that does so to seem smart, but everyone secretly just thinks it's obnoxious. But I thought a few of them were sort of detrimental to my experience, so I thought they were worth putting in here. I had a major problem with this game where after each room was cleared and I needed to travel to another room, which I already was in, to buy something or grab something, I was getting very annoyed that I had to walk the whole distance. Wait. This is the part of the rant where I talked about walking and where I didn't know I could teleport. Well, alright, this is a little useless. Moving on. I had another problem, which still could be a problem but less of one, where I didn't think my items were mixing very well and adding to other items' abilities. Having 6 guns is nice if you can use 6 guns at the same time, which you can't do. But then there was this time where I got a sailboat gun and then a cannon gun. I didn't really think much of it, but I noticed the sailboat gun had turned black, and every now and then, after shooting a ship out of the sailboat gun, the individual ships that I shot also shot cannonballs. Overall, I guess there isn't enough item meshing, but it's not really that bad anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one back. I just barely looked online and it turns out there are many synergies that I didn't see. I still think Isaac is much better with synergy, but this game isn't as bad as I thought it was. I think I need to do something. I want to make a new trope. Nord makes a new trope. Time. How the hell is there a bow and arrow in each video game which competes with guns? I know the concept is cool, but holy fuck.
Is it erotic?
No, Gilbert, not now. Holy fuck has it been done a lot. There's TF2, there's Overwatch, there's this game, and there's probably a few others. It's happening too much. We gotta stop this. To finish off the issue, it's sort of more of a common one with roguelike dungeon crawlers. Once you get through the good life with an amazing gun, and you get super far, and every enemy seems to go down easily, you don't really want to go back. So instead of trying to stick through the first level, you smash that subscribe. Oops, did I say subscribe? Silly me. I meant the reset button until you get the life you want to live. One more problem. I guess on the beginning floor, there's an area where you can jump from one floor to another. They kind of fucked up the pixel art there. Or they just didn't add the function to make 2 floors, but they made the pixel art make it seem like there were 2 floors. Again, nothing big, don't even worry about it. I mean, you see what I mean though. Everything I said feels more like complaining. This game is excellent. It sets standards for what good games can be. I loved it to death, even though it's a bit frustrating to get through. I give this game a... Wait, I didn't even talk about the good parts. Maybe I should do that. Now, the good part. The main part of this game that I really like talking about, and that should be yelled at the rooftops throughout each floor, is a concept called consistency. Learning how to defeat each floor boss and their mobs is something you can very consistently get better at. You learn how the book thing fires, you learn how the individual bullets fire, along with the individual bullets which look the same but they're kind of like Sylvester Stallone. The concept of getting better in this game isn't random. It's a good learning curve in the way that there's no real curve, it's a straight line, which I actually quite enjoy. There's definitely room for bullshit in this description. In the instances where I couldn't see the enemies because they were off of my view, there were some that were blending in with the pixel art background, or if you were this thing. God, thing is the nicest way to describe this thing. But every enemy has statically set boundaries for how they act, and learning how to defeat those is something that takes time. Time which I'll gladly spend. Next, the guns. The guns are diverse, but not too much so. They're almost schools of guns. I would say there are pistols, shotguns, snipers, and just fuck my shit up guns. All of them have their own respective playstyle, which you learn as you're playing if you're good at them. As in, which playstyle you're good at. After a rough run where I only get spacebar items, getting a really good chest with a gun which one-shots most things is one of the most rewarding feelings ever. The pixel art is something I can almost get lost in. The fact that everything is gun-related sometimes throws me off. But damn is the art beautiful. I'm no artist, but I think they did a great job of displaying things I should be worried about in contrast to things which I shouldn't be, which is definitely a thing that needs to happen in bullet hell games. Really, my review of this game comes down to a few key points. Overall, the bad things that I experienced aren't really a detriment to the overall experience and more just kind of annoying. The good things, on the other hand, really create this game and make it something that defines what the next step in this genre should be. Learning how to play this as a bullet hell game and learning each of the weapons and learning how to get through each floor consistently is something that I really enjoyed experiencing. And although I didn't get through every floor, I got pretty damn close. Close enough. It was overall fucking amazing. I want to really thank the developers for creating this game, and I hope they create something just as good in the future because I will definitely be purchasing it. I definitely recommend buying this game, is pretty much the end result. That's about it. Thank you so much. This has been Nord. How you taking?